But I mean, I think that the other thing you just picked up on, Jennifer, was you used the word opportunity. That's the other swing here, isn't it? Which is, it's been, I think we all learn climate risk is investment risk. It's a whole bunch of other, it's not, it's in a very serious way. But there is also a sense of new opportunities in the world. And that's a very significant call of what can be done. And not just to solve the problem, but to create new, much more positive things. Are you sensing that energy out there now?
Yeah, and I think what, part of our role as leaders is to encourage and inspire that energy to grow, because I think the sustainable future is the growth story of our time. Young people, like you say, there's a generational shift here where they want their lives to be meaningful, their work to be meaningful, and part of our job is to connect them with those opportunities, allow them to reimagine the space. And I think we across the Commonwealth have a huge opportunity to shape that for the world. But we need to raise our ambition as high as we possibly can, because humanity needs hope, and it's been very difficult these past few years. So from a commercial perspective, there's huge opportunity. New technologies are coming on, and innovation is just increasing every day. So again, how we seize that, how we connect that with the real economy in real terms is going to be the key to our success.
I see new economies is actually in Standard Chartered expression, which is that's one of the things we're there for. And new economies means a lot of different things.
I think, Alan, but the thing with the Prince of Wales, His Royal Highness, is he's recognised that industry needs to be the solution here. And so he's put together a number of industry roundtables. Bill and I are on the financial services one, but there's one for airlines, for shipping, for fashion, etc. And we all individually as businesses need to do the right thing and have our own plans to net zero. But one of the pennies that dropped in COP was firstly that the cost of inaction is higher than action, cost of action is higher than inaction. And also that what the Prince of Wales talks about is it's like the Marshall Plan, meaning the rebuilding after the Second World War.
Yes.
Industries have to be rebuilt. Shipping has to be rebuilt from the water up, perhaps not the ground up. Yeah. And that's why financing is so important. The asset managers, the insurers, the pension funds, the banks, because this all has to be funded. Otherwise, that infrastructure is not going to be built. So the solutions here have to be industry-based solutions. And when I look at financial services, we don't often come together to do industry-based stuff because we tend to compete with each other. That's the nature of corporate life. But this one has to be collective action.
I completely agree, and we've probably spent more time with each other, as we have with other banking CEOs, on this topic
than anything else.
On anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's because we have a shared agenda. And I think when it comes to the Commonwealth and the role that we as a bank, you as a bank, obviously through the SMI, the relevance is, I find, in many ways greater in many of the Commonwealth countries than it is in places like here at home or parts of Europe or the United States, where there is already a reasonably good system for getting finance into the hands of the people that really need it. That's not always the case in a number of our markets. And there is a role for public-private partnerships that's extraordinarily compelling right now, whether it's a bit of assistance from a UK export credit agency or the World Bank or other multilaterals, the opportunity to blend the private sector initiatives, which are really gathering ahead of steam, with some public funding to catalyze this. It's highly relevant in developing markets broadly, many of which are Commonwealth countries. And then even more compelling when you realize that the ultimate victims of climate change are disproportionately in developing countries, vastly disproportionately. The resilience mechanisms aren't always in place. And the need for funding, the funding gap is much bigger in these countries. So it all sort of comes together to I think is why we welcome so much the work of the SMI and the convening power of the Prince of Wales and your organization. So big thanks to you.